2010, a one-shot for Tokyo Ghoul was released by Sue Ishida. It went pretty viral and was featured in a weekly Jump, which is basically like a weekly magazine. This was amazing for Sue Ishida, who past works included Penis Man and the Lost webcomic, and only about 2 years later did the novel start actually getting an anime adaptation. It was off the charts for Tokyo Ghoul at this time. It was already being considered one of the most prevalent animes ever. We're not really going to talk a lot about the books, well, maybe a little bit. We'll get to that. We're here to talk about the anime, specifically Season 1. I love Tokyo Ghoul. It is my favorite anime of all time. I cherish this thing with all my heart. It is the introduction to anime for me, pretty much like in the world of it, I guess. I love it so much, and I really wanted to talk about it. I love it for a lot of the same reasons that a lot of people like it, but I also love it for a lot of reasons people don't like it. So, yeah. But that's for the other seasons. Today, we're talking specifically about Season 1 and why it's so great. And if you haven't watched this, please do. If you don't want to see the pain and agony, don't watch the rest of the seasons. Just watch Season 1, okay? Or just read the books. Tokyo Ghoul is about this kid named Ken Kaneki. Now, Kaneki is a human, but eventually he turns into a ghoul because of another ghoul named Rize. Rize is what's known as a binge eater. Basically, one of Rize's famous tactics is that she lures men in to later feast on them. Now, ghouls are basically human-eating creatures. They look like humans, they talk like humans, they act like humans. The only difference is that they have a very powerful muscle and they eat flesh, and they're also pretty strong. Rize and Kaneki end up going on a date, but obviously Rize tricks him and almost kills him. But then a strange accident happens where Rize gets crushed by a bunch of steel beams, killing her, but not her organs. Kaneki, on the verge of death, gets an organ transplant with Rize's organs. The doctor who does it only gets questioned once and then never talks about it again. Like, ever. In this season, anyways, they never talk about it in this season again. Kaneki then becomes half ghoul, half human. First of his kind, sort of. It's kind of hard to explain, but we'll get there because we are going to bring it up again later. Kaneki doesn't know what to do. I mean, no one's ever heard of you becoming a ghoul. You pretty much have to be born a ghoul. He's scared and anxious, and then eventually he finds this cafe called Onteku. Onteku is a ghoul-run cafe that we did see in the beginning, but is run by this old guy and this girl named Toka. Now, Toka and Kaneki did meet before in an alley when Kaneki first got his fresh smell of flesh. It's honestly a really great introduction because Toka doesn't believe him. She protects him because she feels obligated to, because that's what her boss told her to, who is Yoshimura, who is basically like a father to her, told her to watch out for the ghouls in this area, and she does, but also tries to be like, hey, guess what, bitch? This is what your life is now. Get used to it. Even though I don't really believe you, so see ya. It's honestly very gut-wrenching to see Kaneki go through this, because I feel like anybody would also have like the same reaction as Kaneki. You're terrified. During this alley part, we also met Nishio, which will become relevant later, but I just thought I'd bring him up now, so remember him. Okay, good, cool.
So you're not a human. Well, you're not a ghoul either. Watch, you're gonna love it.
Back to the cafe. Now, Yoshimura believes Kaneki instantly that he's half ghoul, half human, that he used to be human. That is a big factor. Ghouls haven't heard of this either, but he believed him right away, which is a little bit suspicious, but is not relevant in this season. Yoshimura gives him some meat, but Kaneki refuses to eat this meat. He refuses to eat any meat. But Rize is still in his head. I'm not sure if these are just hallucinations or if it's literally Rize. A part of me sort of kind of believes it is, but a part of me also believes that that's just like his ghoul side, so I'm not 100% sure. But Rize comes out and taunts him, saying, you need to eat. If you don't eat, it tastes so good. You know, like that shit. That kind of stuff. It's very daunting and also very well done. I mean, I think we've all heard of that. If you go without food for a while, you're gonna start to hallucinate, but these hallucinations take it to a next level. Now, Kaneki has a very close friend named Hide. Now, they're not close enough where Kaneki feels obligated to tell Hide that he's half ghoul now, but it's more of like a protection. He doesn't want Hide to be exposed to this, and he's scared that Hide will leave him as a friend. Him and Hide decide to go to this guy's house. Now, who is this guy? It's Nishio! Oh my goodness, hey, it's that guy that almost fucked Kaneki up in the alleyway. And honestly, Kaneki is very, very scared by this. And of course, Nishio leads them into a trap. Fucking sends Hide flying, and Kaneki and him get into a little argument. That's actually a really great fight, and it's the first time Kaneki lets Rize take over and beats Nishio to a pulp, blowing in a giant hole in his stomach. But unfortunately for Kaneki, now that he's let Rize out, he can't just go back. In fact, Rize takes so much control of him that he can't stop himself from almost eating Hide. Mind you, ghouls need meat to eat. There are other ways they can sustain the hunger, but if they don't eat meat, they will die, and eventually those cravings will take over. And Kaneki hasn't eaten meat since he's transformed into a ghoul, and because of that, he almost demolishes Hide. But thankfully for Kaneki, Toka shows up and is able to stop him. She also sustains injuries, minor injuries. Our girl is okay, alright? I love Toka, she's amazing, I love her. She's got such a cool Kagane, which we will talk about later. Kaneki wakes up in Ontaku and is offered a job by Yoshimura, saying that you can be the bridge between humans and ghouls, because little known fact, humans and ghouls fucking hate each other. Humans hate ghouls because obviously they feast on humans, and ghouls hate humans because they're also kind of bigots. They're not looking for a solution to coexist, and it's kind of dumb. Why aren't we looking for solutions to coexist with these people? Because they have the same sentience level as us, they have the same knowledge and brain level as us, but just because they feast on us, we're not going to look for a solution? That's really stupid. One of the big factors that ghouls hate humans is the corporation known as a CCG, is a big ghoul hunting operation. We don't focus on every investigator, but the main investigators that we will come to know is Mato, Amon, and Juzo Suzuya. I kinda like the TCG. I honestly never got attached to anybody in there. I think the only one that I really liked was Juzo. I much preferred the ghouls in this show than any of these investigators.
So, why are we still serving human customers?
Humans are like living textbooks to us ghouls. That said, I suppose the simplest answer is, I like them.
Now that Kaneki works at Ontaku, Yoshimura wants to teach him the ropes of being a ghoul. Kaneki decides to head out with Yomu. Well, he doesn't decide, it's sort of Yoshimura showing him the ways they collect meat. Because Kaneki thinks that you can just collect it by killing people. But no, that's not what they do. They actually go to a very popular, I can't say the word, but you know when somebody's feeling very upset and they just, you know, don't want to be here anymore? Yeah, those spots. He actually falls off the edge, but it catches himself with his Kagune, which is a great sign that Kaneki is able to control his Kagune. He just needs to figure out how. He doesn't need Rize. Also, I just realized I've been calling Yomu. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on in my brain right now. It's Yomo, not Yomu, okay? Cool. Anyways, they collect meat, and Kaneki and him head back to Ontaku. Now, Yoshimura does show him a way to satisfy the hunger by using these little sugar cubes made with dollops of meat in them. They won't satisfy him, but they will keep the cravings down. He will need to eat meat eventually. During this time, we also get introduced to a couple of characters, some new ones. We get introduced to this little girl named Hinami and her mom. We also get introduced to the most flamboyant character I think I've ever seen in anime. No, there is no competition. Another person that we meet in this episode is a mask maker called Uda. Now, mask makers are actually very important to the ghoul ecosystem. The reason why is because ghouls wear masks to conceal their identities from doves, which is another name given by ghouls to the investigators. The reason why they wear masks is that so when they go out on the hunt, the investigators won't see their face, because once the investigators identify these ghouls, they put them into a database, which makes it way easier for investigators to track them down, and they are very, very persistent. They will track down ghouls to no end to get you. It doesn't matter how many people you've killed, or even if you've killed at all, they will hunt your ass down if you're a ghoul. It's very, very twisted, but that is the main reason why ghouls wear masks. Buddha isn't very important this season. He becomes way more important in later seasons, and he is important in a spin-off show. Just know that he's friends with Yomo and his friends, and that he makes Kaneki's iconic mask.
Monsieur Saverin, you couldn't have been more right.
Now, I want to take a quick detour to explain how the show and the books are actually aligning quite a bit. Now, there have been some event changes, right? Some things have been left out, which is fine. It was very minuscule, like there was a restaurant that Kaneki and Hide went into that was completely cut out from the show. It was only mentioned, but that's perfectly fine because it really wasn't that important. That's fine to cut out because obviously this show has a certain time and schedule, and they need to be able to put that into a certain time frame, and that's fine. Cutting small things like that is great. But one thing I never understood that they did, how they are going to flip these next events. The show and the book take a really big detour. The events happen in the book that I'm going to explain to you, but for some reason they put it before. It's very confusing. Let me explain. So in the show, the first event that happens is with this gay man named Tsukiyama. Kaneki gets kidnapped by Tsukiyama because Tsukiyama is what's known as a gourmet. Now gourmets eat other ghouls. They don't care. They just like the savoriness of it, okay? They'll eat your ass if you've got 2 legs and a beating heart, baby. They don't care. But what makes gourmets so unique from binge eaters is that they only like the finest of humans, the finest of ghouls. And because Kaneki bled in front of Tsukiyama got a whiff of that blood, and Tsukiyama was shocked to smell that this is probably the best smell he's ever had, the best smelling. You know, like when you're at like a Texas Roadhouse, for all my Americans, you know when like you're at a Texas Roadhouse and you just smell that bread? That's how Tsukiyama felt, okay? That's how he felt. And for everybody who's not been to Texas Roadhouse, go to Texas Roadhouse. I don't care if you live in another country. Kaneki must now fight for his life in this arena. Now, he was taught by Yomo how to fight and defend himself without having to use his Kagune, and it works out for a bit, but eventually he has to go a little crazy, just a little bit, and crank it up. And it honestly is some really great animation. And then when everybody sees that he's a one-eyed ghoul, everybody freaks out. It's like, whoa, he's one-eyed, whoa. Tsukiyama stops the fight and saves Kaneki because he wants to feast on Kaneki all for himself, and he lets Kaneki go. It's not really explained as to why. I'm going to assume that maybe it's some sort of I'll catch you myself sort of thrill of the hunt Craven style. I'm not sure. It's kind of dumb how he just lets him go, but regardless, Kaneki is free to go. Before all of this happened, Kaneki and Yomo did go to a bar to learn more about one-eyed ghouls. It really isn't that important to this season. It's way more important later on. Just know that there are more one-eyed ghouls out there, and Kaneki's whole goal is to try and find more like him. Now, the biggest reason that Kaneki goes to this bar with Yomo is because he wants to find out more about Rize. He thinks that if he can learn more about Rize, he might have a better chance of controlling his Kagune, how his ghoul-like self might work more. He's just very interested in Rize, and maybe that will also help stop her from taking control. Because this bar is known as sort of like a whisper bar, you know? People talk. She hears from customers because her customers are ghouls. She's going to be very important later on. She's not very important in the show, to be honest. She's a little bit relevant in later seasons, but honestly, she just really gives Kaneki some information. That's pretty much it.
Run, dear. Run fast.
So, like I said, in the book, this event doesn't come first. This whole Tsukiyama event doesn't come first. What actually comes first is the next event that happens in the show. Remember that little girl, Hinami? Well, Hinami and Kaneki actually become really close. They become like a brother-sister, and it's so wholesome. I love it so much. It's so adorable. I wish we got more scenes with these two. Basically, Kaneki would teach Hinami how to read and write certain words, and it's because ghouls can't really go to school. It's actually very sweet and heartwarming, and I love these scenes. But unfortunately for Hinami, her dad was killed by some investigators, who are these stubborn ones that I brought up earlier, Amon and Mato. And unfortunately for them, Amon and Mato find her and her mother. Her mother is able to get Hinami to safety, but at the sacrifice of her own life. It's devastating to watch. The music cuts and just the tearful eyes and the pleading. Oh my god, it's such a heartbreaking scene. It's so well done in the show and book. Emotional wreck after watching this scene. Kaneki is able to save Hinami, but he also feels like a coward for not stepping in and saving Hinami's mom.
If it was a ghoul who died, or a human being, if it was someone I knew, I'd be crushed. And, just so we're clear, Toka, that includes you.
That's so.
Toka gets wind of this and is obviously enraged because Hinami and Hinami's mom were very close friends of hers, and she doesn't believe Hinami deserves this because she actually went through something similar herself. So she tries to take on the investigators herself, and well, that doesn't go well. She almost dies in the process, but she's able to kill two not important investigators at all. But that also sets up a rivalry between Amon and Toka. Toka then decides to set a trap for the investigators, specifically Amon and Mato, and it sort of plays out differently in the book and show. In the book, they dress up and go into the CCG itself, and then in the show, they just do an anonymous call. It's a little sad. I kind of want to see them dress up and go in there. I think that would be really funny. But no. Kaneki agrees to help Toka, by the way, because he feels like he should have done more to help save Hinami's mom, but he didn't.
Get out of here! I don't want to be the monster you think I am!
Now, their whole plan is that they would take them to this, sewer area and fight them there. Hinami got wind of her mom's scent, so that sort of deterred the plan. Kaneki would take on Amon, and Toka would take on Mato. Now, Kaneki didn't want to kill Amon. He doesn't want to hurt Amon too bad, so while he does take a chunk out of Amon's shoulder, it's really just so that he doesn't get to Hinami and Toka. Kaneki realizes that he is the bridge between these two worlds. It's an amazing scene. I love it, and Amon's just very confused, why isn't he fighting back? Eventually, though, Amon leaves, and Kaneki almost lets out Rize. Yomo stops him and stops her by giving him some meat, and he's able to quench it. Now, going back to Toka and Hinami, we find out that Mato has actually turned her parents into a Quinke, which is what their weapons are called. This obviously frightens the hell out of Toka and just shatters Hinami with a gut-wrenching scream and cry, and that actually activates her Kagune, and she just kills Mato like that. It's actually really great scene. I love it. I just love how Mato just goes, wait a minute, where did my hand go? Now, obviously, the emotional and political impact of this scene is also very important, and I love it too, where Toka is pleading to Mato, I want to live a normal life too. Just because we have to eat people doesn't mean that we can't coexist in some sort of way. Why aren't we working towards some coexistence? Mato just goes, shut the fuck up, bitch. You have no right to live on this world. You are disgusting creatures and you deserve to die. It is so fucked up, and it is showing that there are plenty of people like Mato out there that just don't care about ghouls and don't believe that they have any right to exist. Now, before I get comments, I understand that Mato is killing ghouls because he believes he has a right to protect humans, that he is protecting people. He has a family and he wants to protect them. Toka realizes that Mato does have a family and she's pretty heartbroken by this. Yes, he did kill a ghoul's family, but in the process, Toka just ruined another family. Now they all go home with a certain lesson that ghouls and humans just need to work on it. Well, Kaneki tries to tell everybody that, and whether or not they take it is sort of up to the viewer.
How am I pretty?
Now, we're going back to our good friend, Nishio. Nishio is still recovering from his gut-wrenching injuries, literally, from Kaneki. We also find out that he has a human girlfriend that actually knows that he's a ghoul, and they have a pretty solid relationship. How she finds out, basically, Nishio is going to die if he doesn't get meat, and she comes into the apartment and then he's about to feast on her, and she's like, hey, you're a ghoul. You know what? That's okay, because you saved my life a literally long time ago, so I don't care if you take as much as you need. And then he's like, oh shit, you know what, she's pretty cool. Why I say it's sweet is because of the flashback that they have, where it shows that she was probably going to kill herself after her whole family died, but Nishio was there to bring the light in her eyes. It was a really great and heartwarming scene. See, Nishio's girlfriend actually gets kidnapped by, who would have guessed it? Tsukiyama, because Tsukiyama's trying to lure Kaneki. Nishio goes to Kaneki asking for help and pleading, and he's like, okay, you know what? It's me he's after, I'ma go. So he goes to a church and finds Tsukiyama and Kimi on the altar, and she's like tied up, and it's very, very beautiful to look at, honestly. Like the lights, the music, Tsukiyama's whole fit, like, dude, it is such a beautiful scene. It's unfortunate what's happening to Kimi. Now, Toka does show up and tries to help Kaneki, but it doesn't really go well, because Toka has been force feeding herself human food. Now, human food makes ghouls really, really weak. If they consume too much of it, it makes their kagane weak, it makes them slower. They need to eat meat. She has been eating meat, but she's been eating too much human food because she doesn't want to upset her friend. It's very sweet, but come on, girl, you are literally poisoning yourself. We also get to see Tsukiyama's kagane in action, and his kagane is okay. I still think that I like Kaneki's and Toka's way more. It's just a little underwhelming. Now, in order to beat Tsukiyama, Toka bites Kaneki's shoulder with his permission, and boom, she's fully powered up and is ready to take on this man, which she does and beats him. And she's going to kill Kimi because Kimi has seen too much, but Nishio pleads. And then Kimi comes out with a, wow, I've never seen anything so beautiful. And honestly, I completely agree with Kimi. It is such a great shot. Look at this, man. It's so pretty, and in the book it also looks really good too. When you watch these episodes, you might honestly start to think what you might expect from the show, right? Some quirky adventures of ghouls and humans sometimes, you know, going through the life of trying to figure out how to coexist, you know, things like that. It's almost like you will see Kaneki, you know, you're going to expect Kaneki to grow because he's still very naive, but it's sort of like My Hero Academia levels of naive, right? Like, you'll eventually see Kaneki grow into somebody way more mature.
And how do you like this? Oh, wow! I can't seem to break this little guy!
Yeah, no, that is not what this show is about at all. This show is so emotional, and I'm about to explain to you right now. This whole time, behind the shadows, there's been an organization called the Aogiri Tree. They all have their, like, little lieutenants. The main lieutenant that we're going to be talking about is a lieutenant named as Jason. Jason is a nut job. Absolute wacko. He was tortured by a crazy investigator, and now he tortures others just like how he was. But he wants to torture somebody way more specific. That being Kaneki. He basically finds out about Kaneki through the grapevine and goes to Onteku to kidnap him with Toka's brother. Yeah, that's right. Toka has a brother, and he's on the evil side. He doesn't like his sister that much. It's actually a really fucked up scene. Kaneki gets beat to a pulp. There's no music. There's no sad song in the back. It's just crazy ramblings of Jason and Kaneki's head being bashed in. Toka's trying to plead out, but it's not working. Now, I am going to detour a bit because this is where things start to change from the show and book that I don't really understand why they decided to leave this out. Maybe for time reasons, but honestly, this was like a really big moment in the book. Basically, instead of Kaneki going straight away to the torture, he's inducted into this like Aogiri Tree forced slave camp. That's what it is. Nobody's really there by free will. They all want to escape, and Kaneki is like, hell yeah, I'll help you guys escape. We'll all escape. He meets a bunch of people and he's like, yeah, we're gonna escape, guys. It's honestly the last bit of naivete, and it's sort of great how they did it, because you're like, okay, you know, there's still a chance that Kaneki's gonna be the same way that he is, but it's not. he's going to change, and we'll get into that change later. Now they have a plan. They mesmerize everybody's movement locations, patterns, what time to go. It's very concise plan, and it seems like it's going to work until they find them and kill a lot of people, and Kaneki gives up his life to save others. It's a gut-wrenching scene, but it's very noble of Kaneki, and that's how we end up in Jason's torture chambers. I don't know why the show cut all of that out. That whole Aogiri stuff never happens. I don't know why. It makes what's about to happen way more emotional. Like, it's already fucked up what I'm about to explain to you.
Oh, good. You're awake. Make yourself comfy.
Jason tortures Kaneki gruesomely. He shoves centipedes in his ears, he cuts off his fingers and toes, makes him count backwards, trying to make Kaneki go insane, while also not, because if he goes insane, he won't be able to feel every bit of pain that Jason's inflicting on him. It's so sad in the book and in the show. The show mainly because the gut-wrenching screams and the amazing animation and the piano is so great. It is a great show of insanity. Just when you think Kaneki's about to lose it, the piano spikes up and down, but when he collects himself, it goes back to normal. It is so great. I love it. I love how they do it. In the book, it's gut-wrenching because you realize what he's been through, because he's just sacrificed his life for these people, but at that point, are you like, was it worth it? In the book, the breaking point for Kaneki is these two people's lives. He knows these two people because he just met them. It's a mom and her son. The kid cannot stop crying. It is gut-wrenching. The mother cannot stop pleading with Kaneki to choose the son and kill her. Jason is giving him these two options. Jason's like, you pick one now or I'm going to kill them both. Kaneki doesn't want to pick. He doesn't want to kill. He doesn't want to feel responsible for anybody's death, as he's had in this entire show. He hasn't killed anybody. He's barely hurt a fly. He only eats meat from dead people he hasn't killed. He's literally learned defensive moves. He doesn't change now. Why would he? He decides not to choose, and for Jason, that means they both die. It's so sad to read, and it is honestly so sad to just see. Two people, a mom and her child, just die in front of Kaneki. It is so much worse than what the show does. I mean, the show is pretty horrendous, but in the book, it is gut-wrenching. Because these are the people that Kaneki thought he let go, thought he saved. In the show, while it's the same scenario, but with different people, it's also sad because there is pleading and they do eventually both die. It's definitely not as gruesome as the book.
You had a choice! Why didn't you choose me?
Does this mean you'll finally stop holding me back? And what if your decision ends up being the wrong one in the end?
That won't happen because I'm not wrong. What's wrong is this messed up world.
Now, while this is the breaking point, it obviously isn't immediate. What happens next is Rize sort of gets into his mind and goes through his whole life story of just Kaneki, just sort of manipulating Kaneki into believing he was manipulated his whole life, and that it's time to stand up and fight for himself and fight for people who he cares about, because if he can't protect them, who will? In the book and show, it's done very well. The show does phenomenal, just the way that Kaneki just sort of personality change. He feels and talks like a different person. It's scary, but so beautifully done. The flowers turning colors, oh, great. The book is also very well done. The shots and everything, my god, the art style is, I love Sushida's art style. I think it's amazing, and it's just so good. Kaneki snaps, and his hair turns white, his clothes turn black, and he breaks free from Jason's shackles. He kills Jason and actually ends up eating him. It is a fantastic fight. The intro song starts playing, which, by the way, is an absolute banger. I don't care if it was memed to death. The intro is so good and the song is so good. I love it. And the whole lore that the band who made it actually really liked Tokyo Ghoul before that, and the producer who asked to make the song really liked TK. It was basically a match made in heaven. Obviously, I can't play it for copyright reasons. This video would get muted, but just go look up Unravel, and maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. It is so good, and it's an absolute banger, and also recognized as one of the most prolific anime intros in history. Season 1 ends. One of the best seasons in anime history ends on kind of a cliffhanger. I mean, it depends on what you call a cliffhanger. I mean, I guess it's a cliffhanger because you would want to see what happens to Kaneki after that. Hey, if you don't want to see absolute dog shit after that, just pretend like it's a good ending for you, okay? The book actually continues after this point, but we're not going to talk about the rest of the book. We're here to talk about the show. This season did really well, and season 2 was immediately greenlit and was into production right away. Now, I'm going to talk about season 2 in another video, but season 1 came out with amazing reviews. It was the talk of the town in the anime world. I wasn't actually with Tokyo Ghoul at that time because I really wasn't into anime back then. I more or less joined the fandom at the end of the show. I was a little late, my bad. That was Tokyo Ghoul season 1. It is a fantastic season of anime. I would 100% go recommend seeing it if you haven't already. I've actually tried recording this video before, but I rambled on like a madman, and it ultimately led to nothing. So if this seems a little bit too fast-paced, I'm sorry. I just really wanted to talk about the show and just how much I love it. I love the artwork. I love Suishida's artwork. The main reason I always wanted to go to Japan was to see Suishida's artwork in person. He has a lot of exhibits, and some of his artwork's actually in subways. Like, you can see some Tokyo Ghoul characters in the subway, and that's so cool to me, and I want to go see that. The anime did a really good job of interpreting his artwork and doing the best they can to make it feel like Suishida's artwork, and I think they did a really great job. I actually bought this book explaining all of the covers and artworks from Tokyo Ghoul, and it is so interesting. I loved reading through it. It was by Suishida, and it's just explaining his mental thoughts and processes and prototypes. It's so cool. I bought it from a store that was closing, and so it was marked down, and oh man, what a gem. If you made it all the way through the end of this video, I appreciate you so much. Again, I'm sorry if I sound like I was rambling. If I still sound like I was rambling, or if I was going too quick. I kind of didn't want to spoil too much of the show because I do think you should go watch it, or at least read the books. I just really wanted to show my emotions for the show. I love it. No anime for me has topped it. I don't care if season 2, 3, 4 are bad. I still love those seasons in their own ways, which I will talk about when we get there. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will definitely be coming back to this because I do want to talk about season 2, 3, and 4 eventually. That's going to be a pain in my ass. I also want to say a big thank you to my friend Jimmy. He watched season 1 with me again. It was his first time, and we watched till 4 in the morning, and he liked it, surprisingly. I was surprised that he liked it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. My next video is going to be another anime, one that I watched for the first time, and I'm going to give my thoughts about it. I want to mention I am not a film critic, I am not a movie critic, I am not a show critic. I just like to talk about shows that I've watched and give my thoughts about them. So yeah, this is really not a critique, it's more or less just my insane rambling, so thank you for listening. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Does this mean you'll finally stop holding me back?
Of course not. That'd be foolish. I'm never going to let you have control.
Then what if your decision ends up being the wrong one in the end?
That won't happen. Because I'm not wrong. What's wrong is this messed up world.
That will do, Kaneki. least for now. To live is to devour others. That's part of who you are now. Go.
I am